Hi guys, this is your teacher for today. I am Mrs. Pilitar Santos, or you can call me Teacher Let for my students. I'm a Master Teacher 1 at Parañaque National High School, Maine, teaching Technology and Livelihood Education in Grade 10 under the Information and Communication Technology. For today, I will be discussing product development. Do you have any idea what is product development? Or do you have any product in your mind that you want to develop? Maybe I could help you for today. But before that, let me just present to you the objectives of our lesson for today. At the end of this lesson, you're supposed to define product development, wants and needs, list the steps in product development, and value the importance of following the steps in product development. Now, there are two terms that we need to know before we proceed with our lesson: needs and wants. So what is a need? Needs are the things that are essential to every human individual so he may be able to live with dignity and pride in the community of people. Examples of these are food, shelter, health, education, and clothing. Now for the wants, these are the desires, luxury, and extravagance that signify wealth and an expensive way of living. Examples of these are watching concerts, eating in a fancy restaurant, having a luxurious car, and fashionable jewelries and accessories. So, before I start with the discussion, I'm going to introduce to you a video wherein you can see how a product is developed, especially under the ICT strand of TLE. Now, let's watch this.
You have an idea for an awesome new product. You know how many you can sell per year and at what price. And you've started putting together a budget for the upfront design and production costs. How do you take your idea and make it a reality? First, you'll need to write out your wish list in as much detail as possible. Make sure to prioritize by putting key features at the top. Now you can begin sketching out your initial idea and further refine your wish list. Once you're happy with your sketch and have determined the product's core functionality, you'll need to team up with industrial designers and engineers. The industrial designers work on the product's look and feel and ergonomics. The engineers work on the functionality within. Both teams will have questions and will bring up any concerns about your wish list. Now that the functionality of the product has been fully determined, the designers and engineers are ready to move forward. The designers begin sketching ideas and planning for the case design. Engineers begin by creating a proof of concept using off-the-shelf development kits and ready-made modules. Any risky components are identified and tackled first. Next, the engineers need to create a schematic. During this phase, we incorporate all the components required to meet the specifications while keeping best practices for manufacturing and testing in mind. Once the schematic is finalized, we begin creating the alpha PCB layout. Up front, we'll determine the layer count for the board, optimizing the balance between cost and performance. The alpha is the first revision of the design that will be built. Alpha boards are usually larger to facilitate field changes, and they often include lots of extras like test points and debug headers for troubleshooting. When the alpha design is complete, the engineers will send the design files to a PCB assembly house for fabrication. Prototype board fabrication can be a lengthy process, typically taking 2 to 4 weeks. Depending on your product timeline, it can be expedited down to around 1 week for an additional cost. When the boards arrive, engineers carefully apply power and begin running electrical tests and executing test code. Each engineer gets a board they can then use for development and testing. The designers also receive a board to see if their enclosure needs any design refinements. Once the engineering and design team are happy with the initial development, they'll send you a working prototype. This part is highly collaborative. There will be lots of web meetings, making minor adjustments, and planning for the final design. Once you're happy with all the new design ideas, the engineers incorporate them. After a revision or two, you now have a fully functioning beta prototype. Depending on your product, the next step may be to send it to various test labs like UL to get approvals. The engineers can help guide you through this phase. They can also connect you with a volume manufacturer to produce it. If you're ordering a high volume, you may need a production calibration or test fixture created. Now your product is in the user's hand and you've made your idea a reality.
Okay, now that what you have watched about product development, did you have any idea about it? Now let's proceed with our topic. Okay, product development is about the process of making a new product to be sold by a business or enterprise to its customers. It's also it may also involve modification of an existing product or its presentation or formulation of an entirely new product that satisfies a newly defined customer's needs, wants, and or a marketplace. Just like in our example in the video, you have seen a product that is developed in terms of ICT. So for example, you want to develop a mobile phone. So the steps that were presented in the video was all about the development of the mobile phone. So what are the steps or the process on how are we going to produce the product, or about the process of product development? We have 8 steps, okay, or 8 stages. The first one is identify customer needs. Second is to establish target specifications. Third is analyze competitive products. Fourth is generate product concepts. Fifth, select a product concept. Sixth, refine product specifications. 7, perform economic analysis. And 8, or the last step, is to plan the remaining development project. Now, to discuss this one by one, okay, step 1, identify customers' needs. Okay, how do we identify the customer's needs? So first, we can draft or we can use survey forms, interviews, researches, focus group discussions, and observations. An entrepreneur can easily identify customers' needs and wants by using these tools. Now, after we have identified the customer's needs, now we're going to establish the target specifications. So this is our second step or second stage. What do you mean by target specification? This is essentially a wish list. In our example, in the video that you have just watched, the specifications that we included are, do we need Bluetooth, touchscreen ba yung ating device, or are we going to add Wi-Fi, or does it has USB capability, SD card reader, flash storage, HDMI, or headphone jack. So these are set of target specification or a wish list. On our third step, so after that we have identified the specification, we are now going to analyze the competitive products. So after identifying the customer's needs and wants, this time we're going to identify the competitive products. So those other products already have the specification that we want. So other products may exhibit successful design attributes that should be emulated or improved upon in the new product. So it may be available in the market, but what are the means that we can improve the existing product that is already in the market? Next one. So for this next step, or the step 4, we generate product concepts. In this stage, we are now going to develop a number of product concepts to illustrate the types of products that are technically feasible and will best meet the requirements of the target specifications. So after that we have gathered the wants, customers' needs and wants, the available product in the market, so we can now generate our own product concepts. Now on this next stage or next step, we are now going to select a product concept. So among all those concepts that we have gathered, we are now going to select the final concept. And then after the final selection, additional market research can be applied to obtain feedback. On our next step, so after that we have selected or finalized a product concept, we are now going to refine the product specification. So product specifications are refined on the basis of input from the foregoing activities. So after we have done the market research, so we are now going to refine those specifications based on those activities that we have done in the previous step. Also, final specifications are the result of extensive study, expected service life, projected selling price, among others, are being considered in this stage. So we have many considerations. So how many are we going to produce? Does it need to be waterproof? What is the required battery life? So these are examples on how we can refine our product specifications. Then the next step, or the seventh step, is perform economic analysis. Now, always review and estimate the economic implications regarding development expenses, manufacturing costs, and selling price of the product to be offered or provided. So in our illustration, in the video that we have watched, we must include in our economic analysis is the expenses on the development of the product, and the design, the production, marketing, and the support that we need in the whole product development. So we can also determine the selling price of our product based on the costing on the production until its marketing phase. And also we need to make sure that the price that we are going to give to the product is just is just and not hindi ka malulugi, di ba? So make sure that when you put a selling price, it must be something that is also profitable for your product. Then step 8, plan the remaining development project. So the last step in our product development process is we need to prepare a detailed development plan which includes list of activities, necessary resources and expenses, and development schedule with milestones for tracking progress. So we must have a plan from the start, that we plan the whole idea from the gathering the concepts and the making the and gathering the customers' needs and wants. So until we finish the project, so we must track our the development of our product from the time that we conceptualized it until the time that we are going to offer it in the market. So we must plan the remaining development project. So now that we have, or I have already discussed with you the steps or the process of the project development, do you think you can create your own product now? Or do you have the capability to create a product on your own? Now, that would be answered in our succeeding topics. So for now, you will be having a short assessment. So wherein I'm going to give you a link, and then you're going to answer certain questions based on what I have tackled or discussed in this topic. So until then, goodbye. Thank you.